This is a story I wrote as, I should say an excerpt of a story I wrote for a contest that I thought was particularly fun, especially for young ones who are here. So, the crow had told the cats the handoff had to be tonight, or the consequences would be unthinkable. As she followed Shelley's white tail tip in the late afternoon, her boots crunching the dry fall leaves in the overgrown shelter of woods, she wondered what kind of Halloween story had she fallen into with talking cats and mysterious crows. Hi, my name is Alice. I'm on my way to have tea with the Mad Hatter and play croquet with the Queen of Hearts, she thought. A shiver ran down her spine as a chill breeze found its way past her coat collar. I should be home getting ready for the trick-or-treat bake sale, not gallivanting around in the woods. She stopped for a moment to look at her watch, mentally calculating how much longer she could wander around following her cat before they had to be at the bake sale. The chonky little she-cat chirped as if to remind a wayward kitten she was supposed to be following. Maeve waved her hand at Shelley, then moved forward. The flap of wings caught her attention as she saw a dark shape fluttering past. She stumbled over an exposed root and heard the crow caw in response. Yeah, laugh it up, bird brain, she muttered. He's over here, Shelley hissed. Maeve picked her way over to the stump where a large black bird eyed them. It flapped its wings and settled as Maeve lowered herself onto an overturned log. We're here. Now what? She said, feeling more like Alice in Wonderland with every passing moment. Greetings, the crow said, his voice deep and smooth, catching Maeve off guard. She had expected Einstein, the African gray parrot from Animal Planet, but this was James Earl Jones in bird form. Hi, Shelley said, waving a paw in the air. We're here for our instructions. About that, why here? Why couldn't we have done this somewhere, I don't know, less spooky? Maeve waved a hand to encompass their surroundings. I find humans usually don't take well to animals speaking. Tell me about it, Maeve muttered, giving Shelley the side eye. And I wanted to be sure of you before handing over such an important task. So what exactly is this task? It's a simple thing, really. Then why couldn't you do it yourself? The crow shifted from foot to foot, eyeing her, as he said, because I lack something you humans possess in abundance. Maeve's eyes narrowed, and that would be guile. Maeve sat back and stared at the black-feathered beast. You mean you want me to do your job because you can't lie? Well, nothing. I don't lie either, buddy, especially for talking birds that lure me into the woods. Thank you, but no. Maeve stood and turned to leave. Come on, Shelley. No, Shelley said. Maeve's gaze jerked to the slightly overweight calico, who had been sitting quietly beside her. No. I want to do this, she said, but why? Shelley's tail thumped against the dead log as she gazed at Maeve with wide eyes. I'm just a pet. How many chances will I get to make a difference in this world? Shelley, Maeve said, lowering herself back down, you make a difference to me. You're the one who makes me smile when I'm sad. You're the one I talk to when I've had a bad day. You're my girl. Then can we do this for me? She asked, putting a paw on Maeve's leg. Maeve couldn't help a half smile. She could never say no to this little chonker, even before she had the ability to talk. With a sigh, she nodded. She turned to the crow and asked, what do we have to do? There is a young tomcat named Monroe who has chosen a human girl as his partner. You must get this medallion, the crow said, stabbing a beak at the little coin gracing Shelley's collar, onto his neckband before midnight tonight. They have an important part to play in the history of magic and humanity. And that is I'm afraid I can't tell you that. Yeah, no, not gonna happen. Maeve crossed her arms. Shelley stood on Maeve's legs like a meerkat, drawing her attention downward. Please, Maeve, I trust him. Remember how Frodo trusted Gandalf and took the ring to Mordor? What if this is like that? Frodo almost died. But this is just giving a trinket to another cat, not taking the ring of power to Mount Doom, Shelley said. She cocked her head to the side and gave Maeve her best wide-eyed stare, the one that always melted Maeve's resolve. Please, she said. Maeve's hand shook as she ran it down Shelley's side. The little calico was so trusting. Maeve glared back at the crow. And what happens to Shelley? The crow bobbed in place for a moment, eyeing her like a bug. Maeve held her breath, her fingers tingling painfully with nerves as she waited. She will return to the beast she was. Her gaze dropped to her little friend, watching her ears twitch. The she-cat looked back at Maeve and gave a slow blink. You can remember this for both of us, she said. Maeve's throat closed around the sharp lump. Her eyes burned as she closed them, bringing her forehead down to rest between the little calico's ears. It had been less than 24 hours, and yet she couldn't imagine not hearing the little she-cat's voice. If you're sure, she whispered. I'm sure, Shelley said, nuzzling her head against Maeve's nose. Okay, then let's do this, Maeve said. She picked Shelley up and stared daggers at the crow. Where can we find them? They will find you tonight at your human trick-or-treat. Shelley will know them when she sees them. With a sharp nod, Maeve cradled Shelley and trudged back to the car she'd parked on the old farm road, determined to do everything Shelley wanted in the few remaining hours before the bake sale. Tonight, her little friend would be reduced to a simple-minded beast, but this moment would be theirs. Thank you.